In this recorded tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can use the coordinate tools to draw exactly where we want to in the 3D space. I think probably one of the most common reasons people give up drawing in AutoCAD quite so quickly is because it can be tricky to work out exactly where you're looking in a 3D world and exactly where you're drawing. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you, and I'd like you to follow along and see if you can work out these tools with me. So we've got here a brand new drawing that's been opened up using our template file, and we are in the 3D modelling world for Windows users. And the first thing I'd like to do is just come over to the status bar icon buttons and switch on Dynamic UCS, and then we're going to find the button and we're just going to switch it off, okay, just for the start. And I'll show you what this does later, but just to begin with, we're going to have that switched off. And then we're going to come over, and for this drawing we're going to just draw in conceptual, and we're going to come over to the view cube and go to our home position so that we're drawing in isometric view. And now we're just going to use the box tool, and we're not too worried about dimensions at this point. We're just going to have a little play and make sure that we can draw what we want to draw. So we're going to have a go with the box tool, and as you know by now, the X and Y go in first. That's the 2D base shape of our box. So let's have a go at putting that in like this. And as you can see, that's sitting exactly in line with our X and Y. So that goes in first, and then we can just pull up and click to put in our shape. And after we put the first one in, we can then determine how big we're drawing. We can zoom in and out, move things around, and get a feel for our model space. Okay, so I'm going to put another box in here. Let's put a slightly taller one in, like this. Let's just zoom out slightly. There we go. And now we're just going to put on, let's put another one in. And we've got a snap point here, so I can draw this to the side. Lovely. Okay, let's put in a different shape. Let's put in a cylinder, like this. And let's put in a, I don't know, let's put in a cone. Lovely. Okay. Oh, one more. Let's put in a wedge. Okay, so we can just put in a shape like this and then pull up, and there's our wedge. Lovely. So this is all very well, and as you can see at the moment, it looks like this shape is behind this one, which is in line with this cube, which is in line with this one. Moving across, this one looks as though it's slightly in front, and then in front of this cylinder we've got a cone. I'm just going to hold down shift and use my middle mouse wheel, and you can see exactly that's what we've got going on. Okay, so that's all worked perfectly. However, what happens if I want to draw directly on top of this cylinder here? So let's just get the cylinder tool and let's just draw a slightly smaller cylinder on top of this one. Now the way to do that is, you can see when I hover over the edge of the cylinder, I get a snap point, and I can snap directly to the center of that cylinder, and that has gone in. Let's just zoom out a little. That has gone in directly on top. And if I hadn't got that snap point, I may have tried to have done it like this. Let's say like that, and you can see, oh, that hasn't kind of worked. It's now sitting behind rather than on top, and it's actually quite a way behind, and that is kind of a problem, is that we're kind of guessing exactly where things are going. And if we look at this from the front for a second, you can actually see it's gone on the floor. It's not gone on the top there at all. As you see, everything apart from when I snapped onto the top of that cylinder, everything else has gone in at 0 level, in line with this X and Y UCS. So the answer then is to move this UCS, and we can draw wherever we want. Okay, so let's just go back to the home view, and I'm going to draw on top of this box. So what I'm going to do is, instead of trying to guess where that box is, or use snap points, which would only let me draw in the corners or in the centre, I'm going to actually move this UCS. And I can move this UCS in a number of ways, and one of the ways is to use the coordinates panel at the top here. And you can see that I've got a little drop down on this bottom icon here with 3 options. I've got view, I've got object, and I've got face. So let's use face, and you can see as soon as I select that, I can now hover over any face on my drawing and the UCS gets moved with the cursor. So now I can choose exactly where I want to draw. So I'm just going to click here and click accept, and now my UCS has moved from down here on the ground level all the way up to the top here. That means that whenever I draw now, everything is going to be at that level. Okay, so even if I draw over here, you can see, if I just move this around to the front, that now I'm drawing up at this level always. Okay, so that's great. So that face tool allows me to line it up with any face. Okay, the next one allows me to line it up to an object. And this is slightly different, and you'll see that now as I hover around, it will actually line up with any part of that object, whether it's a face or not. So I could line up with a cylinder, click, and now you can see that my UCS has X and Y facing to the side. So I can pick my cylinder up, click, and now I'm drawing this way round rather than straight up and down. And you can see that I can draw there. I can choose click, and now you can see that that's gone in exactly in line with the X and Y plane of the UCS. The last option is called view, and what view will do is it will line the UCS up with the screen, with the actual monitor that you're using on your computer. So in order to show you how cool this is, what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to change my view. So I'm just holding down shift using my middle mouse wheel, and I'm just going to look straight down onto the point of this wedge. Okay, I'm going to zoom right in, and you can see there is that point. Now it'd be really tricky to manipulate an object in order to be able to balance it on the tip of that corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this tool, view, and click, and now look, you can see my X and Y is lined up flat with my screen, and the Z is going in and out towards me and away from me. So now when I pick up my cylinder, I can click in the corner there, and now I'm drawing towards me. Let me just rotate this screen around so you can see what's going on. Zoom out, and look, I'm now drawing exactly in line with where my screen was positioned. And that is a really useful trick in order to be able to draw exactly where you want in AutoCAD in a 3-dimensional world. So have a little play with that and see how you get on. And those 3 tools there are really useful in order to manipulate the UCS. Now it's not the only way that we can manipulate the UCS. We've got some other controls here, and you can see that we've got one which has got a 3 written next to it, and that will allow us to do 3 clicks for the X, Y and Z. So I can click anywhere in my space. So I'll choose this this box here, and I'm just going to do 1 click for positioning it. I'll do a 2nd click down here, a 3rd click over there, and now look, you can see that my X, Y and Z have lined up exactly on that face in order for me to draw off of it. So have a look at these tools here. They all do something slightly different, but I think they're very intuitive actually, and will allow you to be able to draw exactly where you want to. It's worth knowing that you can also click on the UCS itself, do a left click and then a right click, and we can get to a context menu here, and we can get access to some of these tools directly from here. So you can see we've got origin, which is the same as this icon. We've got 3-point, which we've just gone through, and we also have view, face and object, which we can select from here as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to switch on the Dynamic UCS on our status bar icon, and now you'll see that whenever I go to draw a shape, let's say the cone, Instead of having to move the UCS every single time, AutoCAD will actually guess where I may want to line up my shape. And you can see as I hover over these faces, it highlights them. And wherever I click, it will now automatically line up my UCS with that face. Let's do one more over here. You can see it's now lined up with that face. So Dynamic UCS then will save us a lot of time. However, it doesn't always work out correctly. If you want to do something quite complex, like for example when I drew this cylinder, then Dynamic UCS probably won't work for you. But if you just want to draw directly onto the face of another object, then Dynamic UCS will allow you to do that quite comfortably and quickly.